Madam Speaker, the President of the United States.
This was Life on the Hill just a few months ago.
God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
Then came coronavirus. And since late March, the Capitol has mostly been on a pause while lawmakers work from home.
What Congress is doing right now is trying to learn how to mute and unmute their telephones.
Terrific.
Because we're having these 200-person conference calls, and that's really a level of hell that I had never experienced.
Mm-hmm.
The number one thing that I hear every day from my colleagues is, Joe, I think you need to mute your phone. We're definitely struggling our way forward with the technology.
The bulk of what Congress does daily, committee hearings and meetings to amend legislation, Senate confirmations, those things can't be done away from the Hill per congressional rules, and changes to the way they work would require a vote. Despite these hurdles, they are still taking up sweeping legislation. Next up is a $480 billion small business aid package, the fourth relief bill since the crisis began.
You're looking at more than $2.5 trillion worth of funding that will be approved in less than 2 months' time. That's just unprecedented in any congressional way, shape, or form.
Congress is acting really, really fast. And the reason is because there's basically no deliberation. It's basically killed a lot of the deliberative nature of the process that we would normally see, where, constituents' demands and concerns would be vetted and voiced in various processes.
And less deliberation means less visibility into what lawmakers are working on.
There's no question transparency is taking a hit, right? All of this is done behind closed doors. And you're seeing that even now with oversight. Like, oversight is going on right now. Like, we're trying to figure out where the checks are going and if they're getting there and what are the hiccups and what are the things that can be addressed. But that's all being done by committee staff who are also working remotely. Right, so this is completely dark at the moment, right? And what becomes even more problematic is that it's dark not just to the public and how Congress is addressing these issues, it's dark to the members of Congress themselves. Like, they are also not in the room. They're not on the phone with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell and Steve Mnuchin, who are hashing out these deals. So they don't know what's happening to a large degree until it happens and then it's presented to them.
Thoughts on how to do business in the months ahead differ by chamber and by party. Last week, Democrats in the House proposed a vote by proxy plan for the duration of the pandemic. Meanwhile, in the Republican-controlled Senate, Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has not yet supported the idea of remote voting.
There are some that think that Congress should be in session. The reality is, if they're going to go back into session, they're going to have to cut down on the time they travel, and that probably means extending to 2 or 3 straight weeks at a time, rather than having everybody fly back, train back, drive back home every weekend, possibly, just working straight through for 3 weeks. But that's just not today's culture of Congress.
This isn't the first time Congress has tried to figure out a remote work game plan. After 9/11 and the 2001 anthrax scare on Capitol Hill, a hearing was held on how members could carry on their work if a national emergency took them out of D.C. for long periods of time.
Our office in the Longworth office building was one of 3 offices that have shown trace elements of the anthrax bacillus.
However, the idea of an e-Congress didn't make it far.
If you think of remote voting like now, it's necessary. We should probably have it. There should be some way for members to participate remotely, because literally congregating risks health of the members themselves. But in a long-term circumstance, imagine members like not wanting to come to DC as often because they can just remote in. They don't want to be a part of the process because they can just remote in. Like, they can vote from their couch rather than like the actual chamber of Congress. And if they remove themselves in that way, well, then there are a lot of long-term legislative consequences, which is that members are removing themselves from the process voluntarily.
With an election looming, a Congress not operating at full capacity could have real implications in the race for the White House.
The 2020 election for better or worse, could be framed by the president's handling of this particular crisis and his ability to provide relief in unprecedented circumstances, right? How the president manages to do that will be a significant factor in the 2020 election, potentially. But with Congress removed from that debate significantly, they can't draw attention to the successes or failures of these various programs